everybody. Great. Thank you for having me. And gosh, I don't think keep my seats warm. This will get warmer. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I've seen it before, and it's very informative. And yeah, I'm thankful to be here. I'm a nurse, cardiac nurse. I've been here for 16 years, and dealing with these illegal mandates that we've all been faced with, I decided to take a stand and not be a part of this experiment that she talks about, which I'm not supposed to say, but I'm definitely anti-mandate. I'm not anti-vax, I am anti-mandate. And I do believe this is an experiment, just from what I've seen in the hospital with who I've taken care of. I've taken care of far more people that have had adverse reactions to this than I have with COVID. And in Bellingham and in Oregon, because I actually was doing travel nursing down in Roseburg, Oregon for a short time.
So were we being lied to because my uncle got sick and went to St. Joe's and wasn't sick with COVID, but he ended up passing away in the hospital. None of us could go see him because I have a friend who's a nurse in the hospital. I called her up and I said, I need to see my uncle. And she says, oh, things are so bad at the hospital. We're on lockdown in the hospital. She couldn't even go get my uncle a message.
How long ago was this?
This was last April.
Last April.
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
So are we just being lied to?
There's definitely a lot of misinformation that is not promoted. I mean, it's not being talked about. People are not talking about it. They're afraid to talk about it. There are so many nurses that have gone so far to write up certain doctors or certain facilities because things are not correct. Even when I was there, I worked per diem as a nurse, so that just means I worked 4 days a month. And I would start to see different discrepancies where I would have a 42-year-old that was airlifted from Alaska with COVID with a reaction to Moderna. But her main diagnosis was pulmonary infiltrates. It wasn't even documented properly. And so that really started raising some alarm bells for me, and I would ask my coworkers, like, hey, this doesn't seem right. Like, why is this not one of her primary diagnoses? And they all kind of were like, huh, that's interesting, that's kind of strange. So we have to start asking those questions. But the problem is, this isn't a pandemic of COVID, it's a pandemic of fear. I mean, it's ridiculous, like how far gone this is going. And it's gonna keep going unless we break that silence and stand up and encourage each other and speak the truth, no matter who comes against us. We have to do that, otherwise we will lose everything.
I'm trying people that are telling me that's misinformation. Then my best friend is a nurse in New Zealand, and every time I try to talk to her about it, she will pull out a Wikipedia story, just like this example. And then I said, why should I trust Wikipedia? And then so she pulled another example by this Dr. Gould, who I found to be a really good speaker on this.
Yep.
Don't trust her, she's full of misinformation.
Right.
Like, how can we get around that?
Well, I think we really have to use the Lord as a guiding, way for that discernment, because we are in an information war right now. And the hard part is that we look to people that we trust, and then they'll stand for something completely backwards. I've lost several friends as a result of this. People I've respected, doctors, physicians, nurse practitioners, the whole 9 yards. It just blows my mind that it has gone this way. I mean, it is, but it's also a blessing because I'm able to be like, okay, I know God's going to provide in other ways, and He has, and He will, and He'll never forsake us. I mean, but we got to keep going. We have to keep being strong and not be afraid, not live in fear. We have nothing to fear. Who can come against us if He is for us? And that's exactly what we have to keep doing. And just to follow up with the whole thing about Costco, it is no one's right to know what your medical background is. There is no law that also supports the masks. So if someone challenges you, just say, you show me the RCW where it says there's a law that we have to have these masks. There isn't any. It's wrong, and they do not want a lawsuit. Don't be afraid to use that language and be informed. One thing that I find really interesting on the government website, which is very difficult to find, there's 3 medications that are approved for COVID use. The first one is remdesivir, which is also known as remdesivir, because studies have shown for it to have a 48% chance of actually causing harm, including death. And the second one is ivermectin. The third is dexamethasone, which is a steroid for the lungs. But there's also a memo that went out to all these different facilities encouraging all of the doctors and all the practitioners to use the remdesivir because they'll get all these kickbacks. We need to print that information out, because if any one of us, God forbid, were to have to go to the hospital, we would need to show them those papers so they can see that, and then they'll be like, oh, okay, we can order this. But we have to stand up and do that. We have to say, no, this isn't okay. This is my body. I decide how I'm going to be treated. It's not, I didn't lose all my rights here. They're trying that, and this is the only state that is being so heavy. And we need to protect this state. This is our state. You know, this isn't okay that they're doing this. So we just have to be more informed and encourage each other, teach each other those things, and just really trust the Lord to guide us in that direction and give us that discernment. Because there's, I mean, in the beginning, I was afraid. I will fully admit that. I would drive around with a mask on in my car, and I was the only one. And you know, different friends of mine were like, Nancy, and I'm like, oh, you know what? Okay, wait, that's true. And then I started doing some research. And then more and more and more, I'm like, wait a second, like this isn't adding up. This isn't right, you know? And the more I would ask questions, the more pushback I would get. That bothered me, because as a nurse, we're supposed to ask questions. We're supposed to advocate. We're supposed to teach. We're supposed to uphold the rights of our patients. And now we can't do that. We can't even do it for ourselves. That makes no sense. That's completely backwards from what I learned, from what people have been taught. But then it makes you wonder, what are they being taught now? You know, and then we have to look at our school situation, which is a complete disarray. Right. So I mean, we need to scale it back in that way, and just remember what our core foundation means and what it stands for, which is our Constitution. So knowing that and implementing it and standing up for it and not being afraid to use that, keep it, there's some in the back, keep it in your pocket, keep it in your purse. You know, I've done that in an interview with King 5. You know, they were trying to challenge the First Amendment, and I said, sir, I will gladly grab my Constitution and read it to you, because he didn't think that the religious, you know, exemption or that component part of it tied into it, and it does. And so it's just, it's a shame that people don't even realize that anymore. And so it is our duty now, with what we are faced with, to show people that, to show that truth, to teach people and stand up for it. And so that's one of the reasons why I decided to run for county council, because I've had enough. You know, I'm a single mom with 5 children that I homeschool. You know, I've got one up in heaven because one didn't make it. And I also take care of my 2 parents that live with me. And you know what? Like I do a lot. I am very busy, but that doesn't mean that no matter our circumstances, we can still take a stand for what's right, because it's necessary right now. We need that. And if we don't, then we do stand to lose everything. But we're not there yet. And we're not going to get there, because we're going to take it back.